You are now unmuted.
Okay. So that was the actually function. I just made a specific function, and I have implemented a try as well. But let's discuss it later. So there is a list, and I have added some numbers and one character as well.
So, Osama, can you increase the size of maybe to be more clear to our photo? Maybe zooming.
Okay.
From a few, I guess, or we can increase the zoom. Or I recommended this because it's like maybe it's help more. Sorry for this interrupt. I am.
No, sorry. Well, sir, usually it gives me an option to directly increase zoom in or zoom out, but here I can't find it.
Osam, I will add the record one is fixes this not in zooming screen but in the application. If you go to
Yes, sir. I'm checking the view option, and in the view option also to.
it's like font size, it's like editing in window. Yes. If you go by chart.
Okay, let's do it in this way.
Yeah. Zooming.
I can have a full screen. Maybe that would be more better.
Yes, it's better somehow. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so there is a list. Okay, and I have added here some numbers: 1, 2, 3, and then a character, and then 4, 5. So I just for reading we have a different option like R, and for writing we use W. And for reading and writing both purposes, we can do it separately as well, but definitely it will gonna take a lot of code. So R plus we can add both read and write in the same file. So here I added truncate. Why I use this? Because whenever I'm gonna run this program, there is already some result and some value in the file. And when I will run it in the second time, there would be some more data added to the same file. So what I'm doing here is whatever the data was present there, it is removed. And then I have written the new data here, like content dot write, and then join map, the same thing I've discussed with the map. And here you can see is the string. That is the one concept that whenever you want to write a data in the file, so you must write it in the string format. Otherwise, it will give you an error when you will be adding or writing some data in the file that is in integer format or float format or any other format. You have to convert it into string first, and then it can be write to the file. So here, what I'm doing is there is, as you can see, content seek 5. What is he doing here? Let me show you its result. So, as you can see, sum is 9. But it doesn't seem like it's the problem is from my side. Shadi, can you hear me? No, Shadi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but there are some echo in your sound. I guess do you talk directly to your microphone? I will stop the screen. No.
why is
ibyo yavugaga
Osama, please follow the same environment setting last week we doing.
that?
Okay.
It is the same environment, and I can hear and I can see the signals as well. I have checked everything.
Yes. Then talk directly to this screen, not to other screen.
I have headphones, so I'm speaking through this.
Okay.
But I don't know. The problem is maybe due to signals.
Maybe yes.
If you can please talk to them and ask them they can hear you correctly.
So what you mean?
I mean, is that maybe a signal problem or due to distance, or how can you hear me correctly?
I don't hear you correctly. It's free echo sound. Now do you speak?
Okay.
This is better, I guess. You are switching. Maybe the microphone is better. You can continue. Can you test talking?
Okay, I will try one more time. If you will have a low voice problem, then please let me know. I will try to speak.
Maybe in reduce amount of sound volume, maybe to avoid the echo. Not all sound. Not talking and loudly too much. Then maybe reduce the echo. And go ahead now. Let's continue with the exercise. Thank you, Khalid, for your hint. Okay. Can you continue, please?
Yes, sir. Okay, so what it is happening here is the pointer of that specific line, the program where it would be running, that then the pointer would be at the end of the specific line, what was read. So I want to perform some action on it. Now I want the pointer to be started from the initial point. So for that, I have added here 5. So what it was going on here is it is like near A. So it is just adding 4 and 5, and the result is 9. And what we need is we need to perform 4 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. So in that case, if I just replace the value of 5 with 0, so now the pointer is in the start, and now you can see there is a 15. So we need the pointer to be in the start so that all the data should be considered for the action I'm going to perform. So again, here, there is A is equal to content dot read line. I have read the data and I'm performing a function. Now let's come to the function. Now I have initialized a variable and then I'm going in the for loop. Now I have added here try and accept. Why I did that? Because as I have mentioned here, there is a character A. So in the loop, it would be getting one by one value and putting it in the sum, adding one by one. But when the A comes, it's not an integer. So for that, try if there would be an integer, then it would be added in the sum. Otherwise, it would be gone in the accept. And in accept, I have added, as you can see here. So non-integer entity detected as A. So A is not an integer. So that was the practice. Maybe you can do with the try except and with the you can say read and write both with the same program. So now one more thing I wanted to tell you. This is regarding the OOP concept. So when you were talking about the classes, different classes in the professional way, or when you will be implementing some applications. Yes, Edison, you want to say something? Am I now? I hope I'm not clear, guys. If you can respond me, it would be a better. If somebody can please respond. Am I audible good enough? Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay, so when you will be implementing some application, like if I say a desktop application, so there would be number of classes, and you don't want to put all the classes in the same file. You want to add another file for the operations, one file for saving the data. Maybe if you talk about the desktop application of some restaurant, so there would be some data in the what is the available in the restaurant. There is a saving for data. There is another file, other class for operations. You have the other class, and so on and so forth. So you don't want to implement all the things in the single file. What you do is you make the classes in a separate files, and you prepare one main file to call all the objects from those files. So here I have the example. What important is I have done so many mistakes, so I want you not to do that, because so as you can see, here is a class. Class is animal, and it's a file hello.py is a file where I have implemented a class animal, and I have uh, maybe printed some values. That's it, nothing more. Now I want to make a child file of that class. I have made a file. The name of the file is child.py. What I need to do here is from hello import animal. From the parent class, I have imported that first. And then class is this class. Uh, yes, Edison, you want to say something? Uh, okay.
Sorry, Osama, you can continue.
Okay. Okay. So what I was doing here is there was a parent class, and then I am importing it here in the child, and the name of the child class is dog, and then it's a child of animal. Okay, now I am performing maybe some action here and some variables and a function as well. What now? There is a separate file child, and there is a separate file hello, and this is for parent. Now this is the main class. What I have to do is the mistake we done most of the time. We have to import both of the files here in the main file first. From child import everything, and from hello import everything. This is a child class, this is a parent class. Now I want to call the animal class or the child class, and whatever functionality I want to perform is I can do it in the main file. So in the backend, I have every single class is in different file, and what in the main file I'm doing, I'm just calling it, making objects, and what I want to perform here, I would be doing here. So that was an example for you. Maybe you don't need to implement if you are running a big project. So you don't need to compile a file of 400 lines. So you can divide it whenever you will be needing a specific class to see. You can just go to that specific file. You don't need to analyze the whole code. That is the a purpose of that. Now, let's go to the program first, and then we will gonna. Yeah. So here. So that was the simple exercise, maybe regarding the NumPy. So what you needed to do, you just there are a number of universal functions present. So as I gave you an exercise, like, let's say I told you that you can define any matrix of your choice, and you can practice it with with number of universal functions. So I have x and y. I have mentioned here 3, 5 and 2, 5. Now, if I want to see np dot greater xy, it's just greater. So when if I'm saying is greater than 3, it will be just saying not equal here mentioned. So the original is 3, 5 and 2, 5. Now comparison 3 and 2. 3 is greater than 2. Yes. 5 is equal to 5, but it's not greater. So it would be false. And if there would be a greater equal, then definitely this 5, 5 are equal. So that would be true. And in the comparison less, in both, if both are less, this is a false. One of them would be equal, then definitely true. Like 5 or 5, 5 is not less than 5, but it is equal to 5. So that was the one exercise. And that was the second. So here is a technical part. I want to mention that saying that maybe you can arrange 30 to 71 integers. What is this 5 doing here? This 5 is making a gap at what difference the number should be printed in the screen. So 30 to 71, I am adding a difference of 5. 30, then 5 difference, 35, then 5 difference, 40, and so on. If I do here maybe 2, 3, or whatever I need in the specific way, I can define it here. So if I define it 2, so there would be a difference of 2, like 30, 32, 34, 36, and so on. So that was the other way of performing the same thing. Okay, now let's come to our exercise. So, guys, please know if there would be any problem with the hearing issues again. I have closed everything. Maybe there was a truck outside and it was cleaning something, and I've closed every window and door. So, again, if there would be an echo, please let me know. Okay. So now, introduction to Matplotlib. What is Matplotlib? Actually, we want to visualize the data, what we are performing. In that perspective, NumPy is a specific library to perform a number of various functions. And NumPy MATLAB is implemented on the above, you can say, the NumPy for the visualization. So when NumPy and MATLAB combines, they give you a great environment. Like with the NumPy, you can perform number of functions, and with the Matplotlib, you can visualize the data. What is going on there? What would be the specific result in graph form, or maybe in the picture, and so on. There would be a number of examples I'm going to discuss here. So it's a library in Python for 2D plots, definitely. And as you can see, data visualization library built on NumPy arrays and designed to work with the broader consist of several plots like line bar, like scatter, like histogram, and you can also visualize the picture and the color bar of the pictures as well. What would be the specific functionalities you can perform on the pictures? We're going to discuss a lot of examples today. So here you can see in the picture, so you can visualize the data in the sinusoidal form, in the histogram form, in the color scheme, or in the scattering form. So there are a number of ways where you can visualize the data what you are performing. So that is also one of the great example of the brain, where you can simply see the image show, and as you can above the picture, you can see that is a label of MRI, and there are 25 columns and 25 rows, and you can perform number of functionalities to identify what specific portion of the picture is useful and what specific function you want to on that picture, or maybe on patch whole picture. You right now, so it is uh, now as you or the plot y-axis can define values. Simple right? Everything is you can see perfectly. If somebody can please perform, I can please respond. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so now I have x is equal to some values, a list of values, and there is a y, also some other values, and I have just PLT as I imported in the Matplotlib, and I'm plotting. So here you can see. So there were some different points. Those are mentioned in the x and y, starting from 5, and then 5 and 10 there would be a 1 point, 2 and 5 there would be a second point, 9 and 8 third point, and so on and so forth. So you can plot that. This is an example. I have tried it with 5 numbers of list in the x and in the y, but you can perform and you will be dealing with the complex data of maybe of machine learning. So you can implement and visualize the data to analyze what's going on and what was the result previous or maybe after. So that was a simple example of line plot. And then there is a plot as well that is also similar, as you have the values and it will gonna detect that what is the difference vertically and what's value regarding the horizontally. Like same example 52947, and at the y-axis this is 105842. So 5 and 10, that is the biggest value. So sometimes in the machine learning concept, you want to see that maybe some factors like the accuracy, like the feature which was detected most of the times, or something that occurred a lot of times. So you can see in the bar graph that that was the specific area that was most detected, and maybe these are the minimum values and so on. The procedure for that is same PLT as you have imported here, and dot bar x and y. So you can split by PLT dot. So then the concept of histogram as well. As you know, histogram shows the frequency on the vertical axis, and the horizontal axis is another dimension. So usually it has bins where every bin has a minimum and maximum value. Each bin also has a frequency.
Osama, sorry to interrupt you. Can you stop moving because you are moving some echo? There are in your space a huge of echo sometime.
Okay, sure.
Try this, and I hope this is will fix it, because last week was fixed. So we have not we have this problem again. Please, we have to consider this clear, yes, because okay.
Yep. Okay. I can,
Okay.
Yep.
I will continue recording after use. Just check your mic again, and if everything is fine, then we can continue. Okay? Everything fine now?
If you can give me a feedback if I'm correct, or you
Yeah.
can,
Yes. Now, if you follow the same now, it's fine for me, I guess. Okay.
Okay.
Now, okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Good luck.
Okay. So yeah, so there is a concept of histogram as well. So in histogram also it shows the frequency on the vertical axis, and the horizontal axis is another dimension. It's actually a big concept, and you can maybe go deep to it, because histogram, the graphs for histograms are a little bit complex. Well, there are a number of things like patches, like bins. So if you are interested in the history, then you firstly need to get the concept of histogram, and on performing it in Matplotlib, it's very easy. You just need to give the values. Like here, you can see y is equal to 105842, and here you can perform it. Like this is a bigger one, like just because of the 4 5, and it is showing you, but it's the value of histogram, like the shows the frequency or so scatter plot. It is another important plot. Like it will give you points, the 2D dimensions. Okay, sorry, I will try to make it more clear. Okay, so x is equal to, like you can see, 52947, and what it will gonna give, it will gonna give you points on the x and y graph. So like y axis values, you have 105842, so there would be a specific value, like you can see this is 5 and 10, and then so on to 5. You can say it, and then 8, and so on and so forth. There can be number of values. So same procedure, and you can move with the plt.scatter, and you need to define the axis, and then plt.show. So one more thing here, you can use functional approach as well here, like you do in the mathematics. And for that, there is a catch here, like you have imported NumPy for that, because you're dealing now with the science. So you need to data points, generate 2 data points as the third type you have written here, and the point would be the 020. I would be doing here y of x. So we can that as well. I mean, if you're aware of x, so example of that, in that there would be a little bit in the equation. Or there can be multiple functions you can perform the same approach. So yeah, so as the hello, just library. Previous
You are
slide.
now muted.
So like the x square and x, so there would be a line like the curve, and here you can see is the title, and then there is the y label, and then there is the x label. So these are just few properties. There are number of properties of Matplotlib. You need to go through them when you will be practicing. Like for example, for the label, for the picker, for data, that would be in columns and rows. There are a number of properties. If you when you will be performing a specific of that, so you need to go through it, or it is not like limited to big radius. There are like around 30 to 40 what I have visited till now. So till now, what we was doing, we were making a single graph. Now there's a concept of multi-plots as well. Uh, in the multi-plots, you need to mention the rows, the columns, and plot number. So the plots would be drawn on the single row, on the double row, and what were the columns of those plots. So for that, this is the further function, built-in function method, taking three parameters, namely n rows, n columns, and plot numbers. Let's take an example. So here you can see plt.subplot. Okay, so row, column, and then plot number. So what I'm doing here is x, y. Now there is one more thing here. When I would be plotting x value, y value, and when I would be considering multi-plots, then I need to differentiate. So it's just a feature that you can maybe give the color of that specific line, or maybe the other color of the other graph, like 1 to 2. This is a plot number 1 and 2, and so here what I'm doing is x, y, and then I'm doing is yx. Those would be different values. So according to them, these would be two plots in a single row, as you can see, in a single row. So there is a screenshot of that. So okay, now there would be some concepts you must be aware of them, but maybe you're gonna use it or not. It's a very long concept. Like you can draw a plot within a plot. So, like for example, as you can see, I have there's a plot or figure axis one. I have added axis, like what should be the size of the plot. So if that is 0.1, 0.1, 0.8, 0.8, and then if I want to plot another in it, so I need to define some values. What would be the size of that? Like as you can see here, these are the specific values for the you can say length and width of that. So we can define a graph within a graph, and then there can be multiple plots in a single plot. There can be rows and columns, as you can see, PLT subplots. How many plots in the column there would be, and what would be the number of rows. Okay, subplot not clear. Okay, let me. Yep. So here we are. Okay. Thank you, Edison. Okay, Matplotlib how you create multi-plots on the same figure. What we were doing till now, we were just defining a single plot, and where we were defining the values in the x and y as the you can see list. There would be a specific number elements in the list, and you are calling them as x and y and defining them in the graph in a single graph. Now here, what if you want to plot two, three, four, or multiple plots in a single output? So you can define. So what are the parameters in the subplot? The subplot method takes in three parameters. First one is rows. How many rows? Like for example, in the first row, I have mentioned here the only one. When I would be mentioning one, okay, I need a plot in single row, not in the second row. Let me give you an example. If I replace that one with two and that one with one and similar with that, what would be the result? The result would be two rows and one column. I can I'm gonna make you understand with the example as well. But if you are aware of the concept, like if I just replace the one with two, here again one with two, so here two columns and one row, and after replacing those values, then the result would be one column and two rows. I will go give you an example in the code as well. Let's go through it. I think I cleared somehow, Edison. Thank you for the question. I'm gonna show you in the result as well the different values. So here you can set the figure size, aspect ratio, and DPI as well. So DPI is dot per inches, determines how many pixels the figure comprises, and usually the default DPI in Matplotlib is 100. So here we are setting is 8 and 2. That is the figure size. As you can see, you can change the size of that as well. You can change the value of 100 as well, and then you can plot it with the same procedure. But the main point here was the value of figure size and the DPI. The DPI is dots per inches, which is determines how many pixels the figure comprises. Legend. Legend is also one of the you can say very useful feature of the Matplotlib. I'm gonna give you an example of that. So we have just set the value of figure. Figure size is 8,6 and DPI is 60. And we have set the axis, and then we are plotting x and x cross 2, then x cross 3 with the red line. So what I'm doing here is, now here is a point I want to mention here, that I can do it with the subplots as well. Okay? I can do it like here. I am drawing both lines in the single. You can see plot, but I can do with the subplot this with the different plot, and this can be with the different. But that definitely depends on your requirement when you will be dealing with your data, what you want to analyze, what you want to determine, or you want to compare the results. So that would be according to the requirement. What kind of specific plot do you need? So what the legend do is, if you have like this kind of multiple data lines in there, which will be showing multiple results. So what legend do is, as you can see here is green. I have gave the color one, like x square is green, and then is x square plot, and then red line is showing you the hue. So the label for that is y square plot. So what you are seeing here is a further explanation of that. Like it is showing you with green line, x square plot, and with y line, red line. That is the Q. Okay, so let's move forward. So what you have learned for data visualization, Plotly and Seaborn and MATLAB are replacement for each other. If you have the concept of Seaborn or Plotly, so those are the you can say similar in nature to just visualize the data. Because when you will be performing some functions on the data with the data set, so you want to see in parallel, okay, what would be the effect of that if I perform a specific function on the data set. Now I need to visualize as well, whether at the end of the after finishing all of my code stuff, at the end of the that session when I would be analyzing, then maybe there would be some things I need to improve or I need to edit. So for the parallel, yeah, you can say purpose, you can use it as well to visualize. Okay, that is for now. Maybe this specific factor needs to be improved, or those are the values I was expecting them. What was the result, and so on. So this is exercise one. Maybe you can write it this file by coding. That would be a better exercise for you. And these values, and then just uh, read them, read those values. But that would be a lengthy portion. So if some of you would be doing it, testing it with writing and then reading both functions. Like first you need to write those values and then you need to read those values and then perform the specific function. That would be fine. But if you want to just focus on the Matplotlib, so maybe you can just save the data manually in that file, and you need to see the functions of Matplotlib, so you can do that as well. And in that case, you are having number of 2D properties. So you must need to go through them and see what would be the different results and what specific speciality of that properties. So there is also with legends you can perform this, but before exercise, uh, let me now show you some programming. So that was the thing I was doing with the histogram. Definitely with the histogram, you need to get the in-depth knowledge of what is histogram and so on. And here, if I have the value of 10 here, and then I would be having 10 again at the fifth index. So that would be double, as you can see here. Some values occurs again. So what would be the frequency of one element in the you can see the result. So that frequency will show you vertically, or in some cases horizontally as well. So let's start. Okay. So you had the question regarding the subplot Edison. Now Edison, we will gonna perform something like this. So I have imported Matplotlib, import Matplot SPLT, and here are the values. Generate 20 data points within 0 and 10, and the y is just the square of x, and then we have the PLT plot: one row, three columns, and then plot number one. Now, I'm going to give you with results. And please let me know if you are clear or not, or I can give you multiple examples of that as well. So, now, Edison. Now you can see here is what I've done is first row. Yep, I can do here. I can do, right? I think now, okay, that's great. Okay, so you're most welcome. Okay, so what I'm doing here is 1, 3, and 1. So one row, three columns, and then plot number is 1. So what is the result? Although I have added three columns, but I have here commented the third one. If I would be doing here, and as you can see, the row is still 1, and then the result would be in first row there would be three columns. And now if I was, if I just replace the value, maybe that was 1, was 2, maybe now try that. So as you can see here, so there are two rows and one column, and we can set the figure as well, right? Edison, and then now I think I example it is more clear to you, right? Please give me the feedback. I can give you more examples. If yeah, okay. So now, as I start with the box, so we have the value. Okay, in the Jupyter, for a box, it's fine. So the values are x is equal to these and y is equal to these, and I just want to plot bar. There would be a specific result, and I can maybe in the if I change the axis here, result would be a little bit different. As you can see, I've replaced with y and x correspondingly. So that was the concept of graph. Now further on, here you can see, as I was saying, that figure size you can mention here. And so I just point figure with that result, as you know about the points here, like the x is equal to this, and when you will be doing it with the line graph. So first data point, then second one, then third one, and there would be a relation between them through line. So or you can change this as well. So let's see what would be the result if I just change it 8 to 6. As you can see, what if I so it's totally depend on your requirement, what you want to visualize and what you want to take a result, maybe in one row, one column, or whatever the requirement of you can set those values according to your need. So yeah, so here is an example of legend. So that is a very clear example for you. Like as you can see, that is the x here with the green line, and all of the functions are same. You can see x cube and x square, and in the single line, in the single line, you're defining everything. And what you want in that block, you have mentioned everything. So it will gonna take the specific line, whatever the color was and what was the label was, so it will gonna give you, because it would be more useful when you will be have maybe 4 5 different kinds of you can say points, and then how someone can differentiate it. So you need to use the legend, so someone can understand that okay, that line is representing this specific data, and so on and so forth. Like for example, with the color, with the gray shades, with the boxes and circles, or there can be number of procedures for that, and you need to mention to give a better understanding of what's going on in the graph. So so yeah, here is, as I told you, the graph within a graph, as you can see here. So what if I want to change shape? As you can see, what should be the axis of that? This is 0.4. It is going outside of that box. We need to somehow take it in the box. So you can change the values, and you can do so. Okay, Edison, we can hear you. If you have a question, please let me know. So that was the graph within a graph. You can set the values once again according to your need. So let's move forward. Uh, Edison, we can hear you. If you have a question, please let me know. There is a noise coming from your mic. Uh, Okay, thank you. Please let me know if you are not clear about every of that concept. So yeah, so now let's take some random data points and plot some on the bigger area, some graphs. Like for example, here I am data one, data two, data three, data four with the random values. Okay, and what I want to perform here is subplot one comma one, like one row and one column. My I have called here a function. My plotter x data one, data two, and marker x. And x is equal to subplots, which is here. What is my plotter? It's a function. It is called here like x data one, data two parameter. It is just to give you an idea to how what is the limitation of that library, what you can do perform. Like as you can see, you can if you have bigger data and you want to perform a functionality which would be taking number of instructions, so you can maybe somehow make some functions and define everything there and just call it with the data and you will have the result. So the numbers are all the randoms. So what you will be seeing here is like the mix up of everything. So it's just to make you understand that you can perform that as well, like with no meaning. So now later there is a data point three and four as well. So you can and all of the values are random. And as you can see here, why is it here? Because plt dot subplots one and two. So one row and two columns, and I can mention here with the data points like data one, data two, data three, data four in the second plot, and then with the you can say intersection points where they are meeting or connecting points with here is with the and here with the x. So it's you can say a good point in visualization when you want to see a lot of lines and you want to see the connecting points within a graph. So let's move forward. So here you can see one more example of the legend of the plotting of x and y values and the subplots. Like for example, you have x, which is linear. You have then y as quadratic. The value of x is same everywhere, and the value of y would be according to the increasing the power of x. Like first of all, it was x, and then x square, and then x cube, and you can perform number of functionalities on that. So I have defined the color of them. Like I have defined the labels as well. This is Y label. This is X label. What is the title? I have mentioned the title as well. I have called the legend as well, as you can see here. And so yeah, that would be a final result. And you can perform it like whatever is your requirement. What is the data in the X side? What is the data in the Y side? And then maybe you can use with the if you're not dealing with the straight line, if you're connecting with, you can perform more visual effects in the graph. So that was one example. So yeah, that was okay. Don't worry about it. You do not need to perform that. That was an example of histogram. Like here again, the values are the random, and there is two variables like mu and sigma. What it is doing is adding them and then multiplying with the random numbers we have defined above. And then there are n bins and patches. You gotta need to get the concept of histogram completely, and then you can perform with the various values. So that was just to show a graph, not in the start. you need to perform it. But yeah, you can do that as well. So maybe yes, you can see the probability on the y-axis, smarts in the x-axis, and there are number of variables and number of functions like whatever could be the density, what could be the phase color, alpha. When you're gonna go through it in depth, then you're gonna understand it. What is the requirement? So it can be a practice after the initial start. Like, the initial start, so you can perform that as well. So here I can show you some. You can see functionalities when we combine the Matplotlib and the NumPy array. That what are the results? So how can we visualize the data? So if I have just a picture of bird and I'm importing it by using the npimg package one more, and then I'm plotting it to show what are the results, rows and columns. So as you can see, 0 to 400 rows in the of the picture and 0 to 1000 columns in the picture. So as you remember in the NumPy tutorial, so I am selecting all of that, and here if I'm using 0, there would be a special color effect. Let me just a second. Yep. Okay. So as you can see, that is the real picture with these values, and now I have used the concept of slicing here, and then when I would be adding here 0, and there would be a specific result, and that the color is changed. So what is this? The pseudo color, applying pseudo color scheme to image plots. Pseudo color can be useful tool for enhancing contrast and visualizing your data more easily. And this is especially useful when making presentations of your using projectors. And this contrast is typically quite, poor. So if you will be doing the same image as you can see here, and which is what I have imported from my file. So if I have data hot, what would be the result? So as you can see here, that is one of another result. So what's here? Now with the luminosity 2D no color image, the default color map, aka lookup, and is applied. The default is called Viridus. There are plenty of others to choose from, and it's maybe you can perform it because it's not any work related to professional work. It's just for your understanding. We are just watching how the color schemes are working and how those functionalities are. Performing. So, what if I set the C map? Color map. We can also change color map on existing plot objects using the SAP C map. Here you can see. So I have nib spectral here. I have mentioned here, and when I would be running it, so there would be a different result, and I can use the color scale reference as well. Color scale reference, as you you can say that there would be number of colors as you know about it, the RGB format, and those RGB one would be mixing, so there would be number of colors. But in this where what specific picture we are dealing with, if we want to take the scale of the color of that image only, but other colors we don't care about them. So we can define a color scale reference. It's helpful to have an idea of what value a color represents. We can do that by adding a color bar. So as you can see here, image show pld dot color bar. So as you can see, 250, 200, 150, 150, and 0. So that would be a color bar. Now, what's more, you can say, attractive thing is you can deal with it. I mean, if you want this picture to be in that specific range, you can do it in MatPlot. Like for example, if I am with using claim, I can define here what should be the ratio of the color. So I was seeing it like more attractive. But what is the range here? As you can see, 0 to 250. What if um I don't okay. Yeah, but just there is only one more code for that. That is unattractive. Then definitely we can let the students know. So what? Let's finish it. So if the color scheme was 0 to 250, and what I have mentioned before that was 190. Now I want to make it 250. The result here. So as you can see, there is a difference among them. And now, and yeah, one more I want to show you. Oh, that is a different color scheme, but somehow when you be claiming, so you need to. That is the one property. As I told you, there are number of properties of Matplotlib. So you gotta need to go through them when you will be performing a single in the professional work. I was at that. Okay, so now, okay, yeah. So regarding the mat subplots, and that is the final thing I have here, is you're also comparing those. So there are subplots here with the same pictures and different values. We have the color bars as well, and what we are comparing is what we have done in all of these codes, and that was a real picture, and we have just performed with this one. And then if I compare with the after that, that is just a comparison. You can have a color bar with that and all the functionalities, and with the title you can see with the color bars what are the values of the color bar and what is the result of that. So yeah, now sure. So I am gonna open again the exercise portion. Yes, sir. So here is the exercise, and you can perform this as well. Or if you have any question, you don't need to perform a function. You can directly call it. Similar. That would be a similar. If you try it, maybe okay. Abhimana, I can give you a task for that. Like what I was calling here was a colored image. But if you want to take a black and white, or you can say grayscale image, right? So you can call that as well, or black and white, definitely that as well. That would be another option as well. but you can simply define. But that would be a compressed file, like there would be less values in it, and you need to. Uh, that would be more easier for you. You can just do it in a similar way. But when you will be giving a specific color range, so there would be very less values in the black and white image, because it would be just dealing with 0 and 1, and in between it, if you talk about the gray image, in the black and white just 0 and 1, and in the gray image like similar smaller values of gray and white, and in the color image you have multiple values like the RGB and so on. So that would be similar, but you will be have more easier functions to perform. Yep, that's great. That's great. Yeah, that is the reason actually I wanted to show you that attractive stuff. Then maybe because I know that feeling that sometimes when you just code with the dry things, so you get irritated with the coding. But if you see attractive things, to maybe you want to visualize some attractive things, so you can perform this type of functions as well. So it will gonna make your practice fast, and you will and let you learn more fastly. Guys, if regarding the previous things about the exercise and the basic things, like the subplot, like the plot, like the multiplots, figure size, and in regarding these areas, your exercise would be based on. And please let me know if you have any question, or if I need to repeat something. It would be my pleasure if you are not clear about any of the concept. So please let me know. I'm here, or otherwise you can start the exercise as well. I'm here.